Hi, welcome back to another episode of Geekified. It's not quite a full episode. This is an attachment to the previous episode where you have watched. It was myself, Nathan, and Ryan discuss the first 3 episodes of Hawkey. So we are here. Episode 4 came out yesterday, and we have got someone else to fling their tuppence in the ring and give their opinion on what they think of Hawkey over the course of the first 3 episodes and what he thought of the 4th episode. So we are reviewing Hawkey season. We are reviewing Hawkey episodes 1 to 4. So hi Nathan, how you doing?
Got the
hi Ryan.
Apart from that, I'm good.
And how you doing, Tony?
Good.
Awesome.
You'd be lucky if there is a season 2. Anyway.
Oh, spoiler alert on how Tony feels about this show. This is interesting. So before we go to review episode 4, which is the most recent episode, which we've seen 1 to 3, and we've talked about 1 to 3. We've got Tony here. So Tony, without saying anything of episode 4, what did you think of the first 3 episodes? Because that's basically mid-season, so because there's going to be 6 episodes, and obviously by the time you got to end of 3, that's mid-season. So what did you think of those first 3 episodes?
I mean, we've talked on previous Disney Plus Marvel TV shows, and obviously we're going through sort of a phase of sort of turnover where big actors are on the way out and they need to refresh this. And this was always going to be a problem that was mentioned years ago, like how are they going to replace Iron Man, how are they going to replace Captain America, etc., etc. And I'm a massive Marvel fan, huge, loved it. And then I always said when Disney bought Marvel, I was like, oh, here we go. I just knew, things wouldn't hit the mark as they did. But forgetting all that, wholly on, to be honest, I'm very disappointed in the, I mean, it's entertaining, but I feel sorry and disappointed for Jeremy Renner, because he is an unbelievable actor. He's given 10 plus years to the Marvel Universe, and his swan song, again, we don't know what's going to happen, but it seems that he's on the way out, for a break. And obviously he wants to go on and do other projects because he's done amazing films like The Hurt Locker. He gets landed with this, which is not really a Hawkeye, series. I mean, it's not a Jeremy Renner TV show. It's, okay, we need to get the new, so we're going to use you. We're going to trample over you and bring in this new blood, so we're not going to give you a proper swan song. But in saying that, Haley Steinfeld, I love her. I think she's amazing as the character. So you've got 2 good actors, but I think the writing in terms of Jeremy's swan song, I'm disappointed for him.
Okay, so just to play devil's advocate, if, say this wasn't the end of Hawkeye, say Hawkeye is going to stay in the MCU, we don't really know what's going to happen in the end, so say we're guaranteed that Hawkeye is still going to remain an Avenger, how would you feel about the show then?
It still wouldn't, because the show itself, it's just, it's...
So you don't think it's a good show on its own merit? Like, take
No.
away, obviously, I know you obviously are saying, if this is his last outing as Hawkeye.
Yeah, they're using, what it is when I watched it straight away, there's been no imagination whatsoever in the thought process and the writing. Okay, they've used Kate Bishop, which is a known character in the comic books, already established. So they went, okay, we can use her. So the heads of Marvel or Disney haven't really thought hard about that. They went, okay, it's coming up for Christmas. Oh, let's copy exactly the same thing as Iron Man 3, where we have Tony Stark mentoring a younger person, and we'll have that comedy role. It's like Iron Man 3, which wasn't the best of the Iron Mans. It's like you've got that going, and then you use cheap, amazing gags that we've seen. Episode 3, with the whole Pimtech arrow, we've seen giant stuff before. Yeah, it's funny, but it's just like, you knew it was going to happen. It's just like cheap gags, and it's just not, it's like they're toying for time until Spider-Man comes out.
Scathing review.
So, Tony, you'd say it was pish, eh?
Yeah,
Official title of piss.
it annoys me because the cast is unbelievable.
Hmm.
Like all the cast, they've got top players, and then it's just like the money must be good.
Oh, well, it's Marvel, isn't it? It's Marvel. They've got a lot of dough to dish about to get who they want.
Yeah.
So what do you think of one of the questions we asked ourselves when we were doing the review of 1 to 3 was, what's the direction? What do you think is going to play out from episodes 4 to 6? What do you think is the end game, shall we say?
Well, I'm actually quite surprised that we're even going to get to 6 with Spider-Man coming out on the 15th.
Hmm.
And it's very, so, and I can't remember if this was delayed or not, or if there's been reshoots or re-edits and stuff.
Off the top of my head, I think it was delayed slightly. It wasn't by much. I think it was maybe a month's delay. I think that was it.
It was going to be a Christmas thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was about 1 month. I think was the issue, but they still released it.
I don't see how having a Marvel TV show and having a Spidey in the cinema is going to change things that much. Surely it would bring eyes in, wouldn't it? No?
Yeah, I agree with you, but we kind of have a big hint of what's going to happen in Spider-Man 3. And it's kind of going to, regardless what's happening on that micro scale between Hawkeye and, the new Black Widow, it's like, oh, wait, drop your guns, drop your weapons. There's something bigger happening now,
Yeah, but where does it fit in the so this is 2 years after,
I suppose is the
question.
2
years after the blip, yeah? I think. Or 2 years after Endgame, isn't it? This one.
Yeah.
So where does Spider-Man fit in? Is it coming on straight after what was the last Spider-Man called? Far From Home?
Far From Home.
Maybe it's coming because maybe it's going to come straight after. So
good
maybe
good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be way before.
Maybe it's in a different universe. All this multiverse pish that's happening.
I can imagine that. Yeah.
Nathan loves the old multiverse. Absolutely.
I thought something today. It's like there's always talk about introducing the young Avengers and these Avengers and those Avengers. They're just introducing the slightly not as good as the first Avengers. They're all not quite as good.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, it's true.
That's the feeling.
Powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So Nathan, you're up. What did you think of? I may as well just fling up on the screen right now the exact word I think is going to come out of his mouth. There you go. So Nathan, what did you think of episode 4?
Utter pish.
I can't.
The worst 35 minutes, whatever it was, of Marvel television yet. It was horrifically bad.
Utter.
Right, they ended episode 3 in this cliffhanger, right? With a guy with a sword at Hawkeye's throat, and then they sort of went, it doesn't matter, fuck it.
Yeah.
Fuck
it. Don't matter. He goes, all right, yeah, I believe you.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? That's just nonsense. And then they basically every episode's followed the same pattern. Like there's a little bit at the start, then fuck all happens. There's some stupid bits and some really shit jokes. There's about 5 minutes of action towards the end, and then they leave it on a slight cliffhanger again. And it's like a formula. Every episode's exactly the same. It's just, I find it bizarre that they've gone from Loki, which I think has been the best of the TV shows they've done so far, which every episode is very different and lots of different things happening and really good acting, into this fucking nonsense. It's just it's utter nonsense. It's just not I watched it purely only because I knew we were going to do a review on it. That's the only reason I watched it. Otherwise, I would have turned it off after the first episode. It's not bad. It's just horrifically bad. And I disagree with Tony. I think that Haley Steinfeld, the Kate Bishop character, is just a fucking nonsense. And then what are they bringing the fucking LARPers back for? That's what annoys me. Fucking LARPers are back.
See, I don't like Kate Bishop the character. Since I was introduced to her, I never really have, but I do like the actress playing her. I do think she's hitting out of the park. She's bringing something to it that I do enjoy. It's why I did enjoy. I'll get to this later, but I did enjoy that one scene. But I do agree with a lot you're saying. You're making a lot of good points. Do you know what I mean? But I don't think I hate it as much as you guys do.
And Echo, the worst villain in anything ever. All she does is go and get beat up. That's all she does. And then she gets beat up. Yeah. Every single fucking episode. There's like, I don't care about her. Hawkeye can kick her ass whenever he wants. It's like, why is she? Why are they making such a big deal out of it? It's just nonsense, man. And then, like I said, the actress, all she does is put a girl in her face, and that's it.
Yeah.
And the fucking stupid fucking tracksuit mafia as well. They're like, you're not programmed Barry. You know that really shit Russian mob and that. That's what they're like.
Yeah.
Barry's awesome. That's something that's awesome. That is really good. But yeah, I don't know what you mean.
Sorry, my rant's over now. Sorry.
No, you're good, man. It's like he's actually bring some things to the table about it. Like, I suppose, sorry, I'll let you go, Chris, if you've got anything.
No, my next question was, what did you think of episode 4? Because obviously we did 1 to 3. What did you think episode 4 brought to the season?
See, the thing is I'm not hating, as Tony, I agree with a lot that you said there, Tony. I do. I'm the sales nation, to be honest. I don't think I hate it as much as you guys. I do find it entertaining, but I also find it very underwhelming, just in almost every part. Do you know what I mean? Like, but I did, as I said, I really like Jerry Renner, Hawkeye, and I don't know the actress name, the girl playing Kate Bishop. But so my favourite part of the episode was when they were just together talking and they were kind of practicing that wee coin throw thing and all that. I really enjoyed that. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was quite Christmassy. I thought it was a really good back and forth kind of thing. But then, like, yeah, as I think it was Nathan said, I wouldn't have watched it if it wasn't for this review. Do you know what I mean? I even told you guys, I've not watched it yet. I need to go and like watch it quickly. Yeah, there's nothing in it that's making me, like you said, the last week was the last thing about the sword against the throat and then nothing. I'd totally forgotten that's how it ended. So when it started, I was like, oh yeah, like he was kind of had a sword at his throat. Like there's nothing really there to grip me. I'd be like, oh really, what's happening? The next one. But it is entertaining on a very kind of base level. I'm a bit of a sucker for the Christmas stuff around Christmas, and I do like that. So like that I do like the kind of some of the interplay going on with that. But yeah, it's not really anything. And the thing Tony was saying about it being Hawkeye, sorry, for like last kind of rodeo. If it is, then yeah, jeez, that is not good. But I'm going to make a prediction right now. This is not what's like reading any like comedy stuff like that. But see, it was just when I seen it, I seen the swordsman guy, the guy that has been played up to be probably the bad guy. I'm pretty sure that Kate Bishop's mum is going to kill him. There's going to be some scene where she's like, "Oh, I'm the bad guy," and shoot him, and it's going to be, "Oh God!" Like she's about like I could just they were far too lovey-dovey. I was just like, and I know, yeah, I can feel it. If I'm wrong, I'll buy us a drink. But I feel like
Ryan, I agree with that because I did say in the last review, I don't think the mum's innocent. She's been dressed and looked and pitched to be a villain. Just everything, just every behaviour.
Yeah. That phone call she had, wasn't it? Sort of set it up.
I think that she's working for Madam Hydra. So I think she's working for.
Yeah,
and then there's another suggestion, obviously, that Hawkeye's wife, Linda Cardellini, that she was starting speaking the different languages and all this sort of stuff. So there's a suggestion that she's more heavily involved than.
But I think Linda Cardellini's character was probably a former Black Widow.
Yeah.
All right, maybe.
I think she's probably one of the widows that he's met along the lines. The fact that she just spoke perfect Russian was, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool.
I also think Kate's mum was a former Black Widow as well.
Oh, right, okay.
Maybe.
So I think they're all tied in and they've got a history. I mean, so I think we may get a flashback scene with her and Hawkeye's wife.
Because
obviously
you don't bring Linda Cardellini in without letting her act.
And it's obviously it's I forget Kate Bishop's mum. It's Vera Farmiga, isn't it? The actress.
Vera Farmiga is another
amazing actress.
Great actress.
Yeah,
but it's a security firm she has, so it makes sense that it's.
That ties very, very tight to the comics because that's where Kate Bishop gets a lot of her knowledge and stuff from. Is the security firm that she runs? I'm sure she runs it in the comics now. But yeah, so I'll tell you, obviously, everyone knows if you've watched the last one, I quite enjoyed it up until this week's episode. This week's episode was actually a wee bit of a setback for me. I really loved it. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I really enjoyed the Christmassiness of it. I enjoyed someone under Hawkeye's wing kind of learning and becoming this. But this week's episode I thought was pretty shite. I really didn't enjoy it. I thought it was mixed pace. It was good fight scenes, but again, just because it's a good fight scene doesn't make it a good episode. And there's only one. It was the one saving grace moment that I really, really thought really tugged on heartstrings. And I think it worked. Was the moment when Kate Bishop was hanging off the edge of the building, and you had that immediate. We didn't have to give you a flash of Black Widow. It says, but you knew that that's what he was thinking, and I think it was so well acted by Jeremy Renner. But I think that was just his acting over the top of it, just in pure fear, looking over, just having another person drop to their death at the side of a building. But that moment for me, I was kind of like, shit, that was really good. That was really, really good. But that was it. The fact, and then when I watch TV shows, I'll let TV shows away with some shit. So obviously nobody really liked the LARPers. I don't think they're going down very well at all. And I'll let a TV show away with it. It's just a wee joke. It's a wee bit daft. It's something that happens in a TV show. You can write anything in. The fact they fucking went back this week to the LARPers again was a lot of shite. I thought that was terrible. It's such a weak concept, such a stupid idea. I just don't get it.
No, I'd agree there. I think going back to, and now they're obviously setting them up to be like, make the costumes for Hawkeye and Kate Bishop and all that. And it's like, yeah, I get it, but there was no reason to go back there. I think that was one and done. That
really pissed me off, the fact that we had to go back, because it felt cheap. It cheapened the show. It cheapened everything. You were bringing it. It should have been a one and done joke. It's a joke. People dressing up about like, because I mean, obviously the guy managing to steal the suit, that was a kind of funny running joke of how he ends up continuing to try and find the suit. I get that, but going back again, no, I just really didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, like I said to you guys before, I mean, how can somebody just walk about New York with a bow and arrow and no one says anything? Policemen don't stop them, nothing.
I remember your message about that, and I was thinking, because I didn't know the context, and I was thinking, yeah, well, you kind of could, if you were going to do archery or something, but yeah, she's walking about as if it's like her handbag, and it's like, yeah,
arrows popping out, like,
yeah. It's not what you'd be able to do. Somebody would walk up to you right away, one of the police, and like, you're like, what do you think you're doing? You know what I mean? Like, I was drunk in New York before walking myself. I get stopped. Do you know what I mean? Just for being drunk and Scottish. So, like, you would definitely, we'll see that happen.
I really, really honestly think they've missed the trick. I think we all know that Vincent D'Onofrio is in this show. I mean, it's blatantly obvious he's going to turn up, but Kingpin is here. So why wait until the second last episode or the last episode to bring him in? That guy's a powerhouse of acting.
Mm-hmm.
I think the show needs him now. I think after watching that episode, I think they need him. They absolutely need him there now.
Most frustrating thing for me about these Marvel shows.
There you go.
Most frustrating thing for me about these Marvel shows is they never tell you which episodes have got like mid or end credit scenes.
So the last two, they've said now. I think they released it the last 2 days. I think
I tend to watch all the fucking credits as well, waiting, and then you go, oh, shit, it's nothing. Let's watch this 7 minutes of credits for every episode and wait for something and nothing's there. Just bullshit, man.
They announced maybe just a couple of days ago. They've said that the last 2 episodes will feature after credit scene, and they said that I think the last episode is going to have quite a long after credit scene. It's going to be about 5 minutes.
But I think they need to tell us that like at the start of the season, because you can sit there and because every Marvel show, all Disney shows, Star Wars was the same. It's like 8 minutes of every episode's a fucking credit scene. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. Hawkeye has not went down very well with the team, and even with someone who was very, very. I was in love with it right up until that new episode 4. I'm a wee bit setback this week. I was really enjoying it. I'm not saying it's utter pish like Nathan thinks it is, but I agree with some of the weaknesses that the other guys have seen now from what I've seen. So anything else you guys want to add? Any predictions, anything else before we close?
Episode 5 and 6 will be Pisher.
Yeah. There was one thing, I'm not too sure if you mentioned it, but again, it's me getting tired of politics with Disney Plus and Marvel. It was the whole, obviously we talked about did like Eternals and this, and about the first ever deaf superhero actor playing the part. Yeah. Now, this got delayed. Now, if I was that actress in Hawkeye, I would be very annoyed because technically I'm sure she got cast first and she was the first. Yeah. So the whole politics that Eternals were promoting a part of the show saying, look, we've got the first ever deaf actress playing the first ever deaf superhero. And then a couple of weeks later, Hawkeye gets released where they have another deaf actress playing a deaf superhero. Mm. And I was at that. I was like, no, so you're really just playing on that then? and like
Yeah.
what would have came first if that was delayed. And that kind of put a little sour thing into me. I was like, so you're not doing it for the right reasons. You're doing it for marketing and promotion.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. I mean, that's something I would touch. When you mentioned like Vincent D'Onofrio, I've been rewatching Daredevil recently, and it has been making me think, the cast multi just how much better it is in every facet than Hawkeye kind of thing. You just see the kind of small scale kind of thing. But anyway, I was talking to a girlfriend on it, and I was thinking about this whole thing about, this kind of push about deaf people having to play the deaf role and all that kind of thing. And I think we use well, like Quiet Place, like that the young actress to come on brought a lot to it behind the scenes by saying, I wouldn't actually say that, I'll do it this way, I'll do this. But like I was watching, I think, well, is Charlie Cox not going to be allowed to be Daredevil because he's not blind? Like, how far do we take it down the road of it? And I was like, he's obviously Daredevil, he's awesome. Everybody wants to be in it. Back as Daredevil, we're going to start. I think, I don't know, I don't think it's a road that has to be that completely, that it has to be from now that it's only deaf or blind people that can play those roles. Do you know what I mean? I think, especially with something like deaf or blind that isn't immediate apparent, that it's not something that, I don't know, has to matter all that much, to be honest. But I suppose it's a different conversation.
I do know it's a very different conversation. It's one that we probably will touch on at some point, but I do agree with what you're saying. I do slightly disagree on the case of Daredevil, due to the fact that obviously you need an actor who's able to jump and flip and do stunts.
I didn't think about that. Yeah.
So it's not the easiest thing for someone who is actually truly blind to do it, obviously, because he's portraying a superhero. But I get exactly what you're coming from, and I think it is a very open argument on the basis of colour, disabilities, and all that of these people actually playing these roles. It's a very questionable and it's a very dangerous game that people are playing in the media and using it, like Tony says, as almost a way of marketing something rather than it actually being for the right reason. So I agree with you, Tony. I think you're 100% correct with that.
Was Echo deaf in the comics?
Yes.
Yeah. And then it's just the fact that they delayed the release of this and went, sorry, you need to be really quiet until Eternals is over. And then we'll say that you're... So it's like, I thought that was a wee bit, on her part.
Yeah, well, you can see right. Yeah, you can see right through it. Do you know what I mean? You can see why it's happening. It's not. Yeah.
It's money, it's power, but that's the Disney for you.
Yeah. That's it. Has Marvel officially?
I don't know if you can blame Disney for it. I mean, this has been. If you read it, it says a Kevin Feige production. So Kevin Feige, and he's executive producer as well. So if anything's not right with it, it's Kevin Feige, and that's Marvel. It's not. I think they're just, like I said 100 times before, I think Marvel are just pushing out too much content, and they've taken, this is probably another one, a bit like, what's it called, Winter Twat and Arm Man. They could have done, an hour and a half film instead of a 7-hour long TV show with them, One Division, I didn't like it that much, but I understand why it was a TV show, because it was the episodic nature of it. Loki worked really well as a TV show, but these other two haven't worked well as TV shows because there's these long periods of nothing happening. It's just, and they're not the most interesting characters. Hawkeye and Captain Falcon and Winter Twat. They're not like well-rounded characters particularly. So you don't need to have hour-long episodes of them just talking about things, because that's not part of their character. That's not why we watch them. And Hawkeye, I loved Hawkeye in the Avengers films because he was kick-ass. He wasn't really a superhero. He was a guy that was just really good at what he did. And I think that was really cool. But Black Widow was the same. I like that. But I think that, in a way, the Black Widow film, which I know you guys, I really liked it, but you guys weren't as keen on it. That probably would have made a better TV show than this would have.
I said that. I says that Black Widow would have been an absolutely amazing movie of Black Widow hunting down widows that have got away or trying to help them, try to find them, and just this. You could have had season after season with that, but they obviously chose to make an absolute crusher of a movie with just everything all balled up into a pile of absolute nonsense, which was just, for me,
it just seems weird that they do that with that, but then with things like this, it's two people trying to find a suit and a watch, and put it into a 6-hour long TV show.
Yeah, Feige did say that this was originally supposed to be a movie, so he's turned around and says this was a Hawkeye movie, and then he says, well, they wanted to add bits to the story. And they said it was just getting longer and longer. So they turned
the fucking LARPers. That's what they added to it. The fucking LARPers.
When you think about it that way, but that is quite ridiculous. If it was meant to be a film, we had to add more, and there's so much filler in it that doesn't matter anything. Like what did you have to add there?
Yeah, it leans me into the fact that I think that might be Hawkeye's journey over at the end of this. I think he might be done.
I think he'll die at the end.
So yeah, actually,
I
I thought he would maybe be there as a mentor, but I think he's on the way out.
He'll sacrifice himself like Scarlet Witch. It's not Scarlet Witch. Black Widow.
Black Widow. Yeah. I mean, maybe I think he still might, even if he like dies, he'll be like an end credit scene. He'll be okay somewhere with his family. I think he'll be gone, but with his family. I don't know. Maybe it's just hoping because I have always liked Hawkeye too, but I don't know. I just don't see him dying for some reason.
I'd quite like them to give something quite a dark edge, like
either Kate Bishop's mum or new Black Widow will kill him.
Yeah.
He'll sacrifice himself to the new Black Widow as a way of preparing her for her sister dying or something like that.
I think it might be Secret Invasion. A Skrull will turn into Hawkeye, and you think he's dead, but it's not. It's been a Skrull, and then Hawkeye can live happily ever after.
That's
problem solved.
Maybe. But just actually reminded me about something. That's one of the, I don't know much about the actual Ronin story, right? But what I've looked into it, that's one thing I remember thinking I was watching it. I really wish they weren't doing the Ronin story like this, like the way that was kind of touched upon Endgame, and now it's this. It's like it should be. You mentioned the word darker. It should really be something. Like I think I said last time, it would have been much better, I think, to watch the story of Ronin. I'd have much rather have seen that as an episodic thing and then feel all the stuff after it rather than touch base and after, it's this and now somebody else is doing the suit and it's all about getting the suit because I've done all this bad stuff. But it's like, did you? I don't have any recollection of that. I seen you pissed off with a weird haircut at Endgame. I didn't see you doing anything. And
that's what I wanted. I wanted Ronin in the form of a John Wick movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. That's what I said last week. It could have been a really cool, dark criminal underworld thriller. Neon lights and fucking kick-ass fight scenes in back alleys and stuff like that.
Would Disney put that out?
I was getting Die Hard. I thought this was going to be Die Hard. It's not even Die Hard.
I think I mentioned that last time. I thought, and I think I said it had some Die Hard feels, but I thought it was going to be quite Die Hard-ish on the way. But do you not think it would matter so much more seeing them with the story of looking after a younger child and the whole thing of Black Widow and that if we'd seen the whole Ronin thing and if we'd seen it like we wouldn't be so mad at it being his swan song if now he was like redeeming himself, looking after somebody else, even in small scale. If we'd seen everything, all the horrible stuff they'd done as Ronin, do you know what I mean? But it just feels like it's a nothing.
Yeah, feels like it's a nothing. That seems like a good way to close out the episode of what everybody seems to be thinking on Hawkeye. 2 episodes left. Episode 5 coming out next week. Episode 6 will be the finale. And obviously we've got no Scooby-Doo what's going to happen on, but there you are. Currently, probably what rating out of 10 is it currently sitting at in the pish meter, Nathan?
It's utterly mega pish.
Utterly mega pish. But yeah, so thanks very much for joining, Nathan. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
And thanks, Tony. We can do this all day.